Hello, my wonderful doll-loving friends. This is Annie from Annie's Playhouse, and today we're playing Bride. So, as you can see behind me, I'm building a bridal diorama, and so this is going to be like a how-to video. So the first part, we're going to build the archway and the hedge that's behind this beautiful bride. And then in the second part of the video, we're going to unbox this beautiful doll. She's a 1996 reproduction of the 1961 Wedding Day Barbie. And then what I'm really curious about is how this dress fits other dolls as well. Does it fit a modern made-to-move Barbie? So this should be great fun. So in the first part, I mostly use items that are from my local dollar store or my hardware store. And then there's also a sheet of moss that I purchased at, I believe it was TJ Maxx. They can be found in a lot of stores like that. So I hope you join me for both parts, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to get on with the show. So this is going to be the area for the outdoor diorama. So I have a sky backdrop and also some artificial grass. And as you can see, it's just very flat. So we need to give it some depth. So what my plan is to put some hedges in the background, and then so it'll just kind of break up the skyline, and then also to put a lovely I don't know if they call it an arbor, but like an arch for the wedding couple to stand under. So first I'm going to put down some protective it's a craft mat, and I believe it's made with asbestos so that, it doesn't harm anything underneath it, because I don't want to use anything too hot, but it should be a good protective surface. So I picked up a couple of these boxwood squares. They're 12 by 12. And then I have to figure out how to make them stand in my diorama. So what I'm going to do is cut them in half, and that should be the right size. Now I always like to keep a doll, oops, was I off camera there? Here we go. So I always like to keep a Barbie or a Ken doll on hand just for size. It just helps me with inspiration and also the size. Oops, let's see, is that right? Okay. And so that hedge is just about right. That's a nice little hedge to have, as just to break up the, the line, the horizon between the grass and the sky. So how to make it stand up? So my idea is to use some of these, I guess they're called bookends. They are what would hold a book together, some books together on a bookshelf. And I thought that, these are really nice and strong, and I feel like they would slip underneath the grass really well and be able to hold up the hedge. So I think that if I attach this to each one, then that will work really well. So I have some floral wire, I guess is what they call it, that I picked up at the dollar store. And, ow, okay, watch out, it's sharp. I think that will work well to attach it onto here. So, when I do these projects, generally I do it very organically. I will hunt for certain things that I think I'm going to need. but sometimes I figure it out as I go. So this I kind of tried out a little bit. I didn't really do it, but I got the idea, and then I made sure that it was the right height. It also, I have a couple of these. These are much shorter, and they also would have worked, but I didn't have 4 of them. I only have 2, so I'm going to stick with the black ones that I have. So I'm just going to cut some pieces off of this with my wire cutters. And I don't think I even need to use too much. I could use better wire cutters. Okay, there we go. You know, if I do it this way instead of gluing it on, it's going to be temporary. So I can, you know, reuse these things. I'm just going to move the camera a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing. Is that better? I think so. Okay, so here we have the bookend. And of course, it's going to go this way because it's going to be slipping underneath the grass. So I need to attach it on the inside of the bookend, like that. So I'm going to go right to the middle, like this, and make sure that it looks pretty good on the bottom and the top, and it does. And then I'm just going to take this wire and slip it underneath. Now, when you buy these boxwood squares, be really careful because I've run into some trouble with them. So I ordered some from AliExpress, and it was absolutely awful. The smell was, I mean, you know, when something is toxic, you can tell it's toxic. And I didn't even take it out of its packaging. And I right away contacted them and tried to return it, and they wouldn't take it back. So, you know, just be wary of that. And I stopped ordering from AliExpress for that reason for a long time, because they ticked me off. They said, oh, that's just the way the product is. And then I purchased some, I think from Walmart or Home Goods. I think it might have been Walmart. And, you know, I could tell that it had a smell, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it outside on the deck and let it air out and wash it really well with soapy water, and you know, whatever that finish is on it, I'll make sure I wash it off. And, you know, it's not the finish, it's the plastic. I think that sometimes they make these things out of unstable plastic, and it just gives off this awful toxic gas. And that's what I think the state of California warns us about, is that these things can be cancer causing. So, you know, just I had to get rid of it. So this one does not have any kind of smell, and it's fine. But this one has no, you know, off gas at all. So I'm not worried about this one. But, you know, just be careful. If anything smells, it means that it's, you know, it's giving off some kind of a gas. So, you know, it's actually in the atmosphere. So you just don't want to be breathing that in. So I don't want that black to show too much, so I want to make sure that I've got it pretty well situated, and I do want it to be straight. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's move Ken out of the way and slip it underneath and see what this looks like. Okay, I think that's pretty good. So, yeah, so I'm gonna make three more of these and then do the reveal, and then we'll make the sort of the little arbor. Okay, so all four of the bookends are covered with the boxwood. I think I'm happy with the way it came out. They're really nicely tucked into the grass, so they're very stable, and they give a sort of three-dimensional feeling about, you know, just breaking up between the sky and the grass. I think that that's working really well. Now, let's put this protective craft mat down again because I'm going to be using some hot glue possibly. So I was trying to figure out how to make the archway, and I found this dowel at my local hardware store, and this dowel is 58 of an inch thick, and it was 36 inches long. So I just measured it against Ken, and I decided to cut it at, let's see, like about 14 inches is what I ended up doing, is cutting it like two pieces at 14 inches. And then this thing is a, I guess they wrap it around pipes so that, for insulation. And this is called a semi-slit. And it's a half an inch in circumference, I guess. That's what that means. And 3/8 of an inch. I'm thinking that must be the hole inside. So anyway, what I tried out at the hardware store is that this dowel fits really well into this pipe protector. And I cut that down. So I cut this thing down to about 39.5 inches. Anyway, the idea was that if I put this dowel into both ends of this foam, then I could bend it. Let me turn the camera up. There we go. Then I could bend it like this, and it would create an archway. So I think the idea is pretty good. And then the only thing is I have to kind of figure out on how to keep it that way. So I think I'm just going to put a little wire on the bottom of it just to sort of hold it together. So I think I'm going to do that. And then we'll, let's see, maybe I need to wrap it first. All right, I think I'll wrap it first. So I have this sort of like moss covered, I don't really know what it is. They're like sheets of moss, and they have an adhesive on the bottom, which I don't know if it will stick to this foam or not. So I do have hot glue on hand. So I'm going to try to wrap it, and hopefully it sticks. All right. So there's a little trickier than I expected. It's not easy to push that dowel through once it has hot glue on it. So I'm having to open this up, which is fine. It's intended to work that way. And then I'm putting the dowel inside. It's a pretty snug fit. And then I'm opening it up and putting hot glue in there. So hopefully you can see that. And be careful because it is really hot. Okay. And then I'm holding it together. There. Okay. Give it a minute to set. And it is going to work. Yay. Okay. Keep in mind that this foam will also melt from the hot glue gun, so you don't really want to see where I touched it a little bit here. See how it made a little gap? So, you want to be careful. And so now, what we're going to do, let's move this up a little bit. Ken, I'm worried about getting glue on you, so we're going to move you. And then now I'm going to start wrapping it with this moss. I haven't actually tried this out. Oh, okay. This is not actually peeling off like I thought it was going to. So maybe it's meant to stay on. I don't really know. I thought it was sort of self-adhesive. Let me see. And maybe it is. Maybe I've just had this a long time. I don't know. So I think what I'm going to do is just put a bunch of hot glue on it and then wrap it really fast, I think, and just, hope for the best. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so I'm putting my hot glue on as fast as I can, and hopefully it will stick well to the foam. So here we go. We're going to go right to the end, and we're going to wrap it. Okay, and then just kind of hold it together at the seam. Okay, I think we need a little more hot glue there, right at the seam. Whoops. I have some finger protectors. I should put them on because this is really hot. Oh my goodness. Oh, I don't want to burn myself that badly. I'm going to use this to hold it down. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. Okay, ouch, that's hot, hot, hot. Okay. I hope I didn't cut that too small. Let's see. I got my finger protectors, but as soon as I put it on, I lost one of them. This is tricky business. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. I'm going to put that one on my thumb. It seems to be those are the two fingers that seem to get burnt the most. All right, so I'm going to try to put some glue right on that seam and close it up some more. Okay. So, you know, of course, you can always cover things up with moss and, you know, any imperfections can be covered up very easily. So this is just to sort of cover the foam so that it's sort of a moss arch and not an ugly black foam arch. Okay, so now I still have this little piece that needs to be covered. Now I did cut another piece. Let's see. Oh, that's about the right size there. All right, good. It's going to overlap a little bit, but I think that that's probably a good thing. I don't know, we'll see. I think it'll, because that's where the bend is, so I think it's probably a good idea if there's a little bit more of an overlap. I hope the overlap doesn't make it too bulky. I don't think it is. I probably should have done that all around, but, you know, you don't know until you try stuff. Okay, so I think we're good. We have the whole thing covered. Let's see if it's still flexible. Kind of scared. Here, I'll raise the camera up so you can be scared with me. All right, so let's see if I bend it. Oh, I don't know. Nope, it's not. It's not quite. Doesn't have that nice arch that I wanted it to have. Okay, let's see. What went wrong? Something went wrong. Okay, you can't really see what I'm doing. Let's see. All right, so I'm trying to see if I can get, oh, that's getting a little better. If I can get that nice archway. And I think what's happened was, see, it's split over here. I think that maybe that piece was too small or too big. I am going to remove it and put a bigger piece on. So I think that's what it needs, just to kind of create a better arch. Okay, so our little archway's coming along. That worked. Wrapping it really well up here did work. I'm going to actually put a little tiny bit more glue up there to secure that a little bit better. These little finger protectors are really helpful because it really does get hot. Okay. Now hold that in place a little bit. My fingers can handle the heat pretty well because I was a chef for so many years. You know, we're always burning our fingers, so after a while you get sort of desensitized to it, but it's still not fun. Okay, and then what I did was I attached the two ends with some of that floral wire, just because I couldn't figure out what kind of a platform to use for it that would be strong enough to hold it and hold it the way I want it. So I think that was not a bad solution. And then what I can do is I have a nice big piece of slate. I can weigh the wire down with the slate, and that's pretty stable. I might come up with a better solution for it. You know, if you guys have any ideas, put it in the chat below. But that actually does work. I think it works fairly well. So the next thing I want to do, I think, is attach this. I have this sort of garland that I was saving for God only knows what. And it has, you know, it's attached to a wire. And it's, you know, definitely 1/6 scale, so that is good. So I'm going to just pick this back up again and attach the wire to the wire I have there on the bottom, and just kind of twist it around to give it, you know, some strength. And then start, it's pretty long. Let me see how I can do this so that it makes sense. I want to start twisting it around, but it's super long, so I think it could be a little bit tricky. So the archway is coming along really well. I've been wrapping it with this garland that I had, and I'm just finishing that up. I mean, of course, I could have left it with just the moss. I thought it looked really nice, but I think this gives it a lot more dimension and interest and realism. So I think that I made a good choice by doing that. Okay, we finished. We finished. So I think it looks really nice. You know, in retrospect, it would have been a little bit smarter to sort of start in the middle with the, I guess this is like laurel or something, is that what it's called? But this garland, if I had started in the middle and wrapped it this way and this way, it would have been, you know, made sure that there was the even amount on both sides. So I'm going to put that slate back on, and that gives the bride and groom a spot to stand, which is nice. So I'll work on that, the stability part. That's something I'm going to figure out. This does work, but I think there's a better way. Okay, I think I came up with a good idea to make this more stable. I think this is one of the mini brand, you know, those blind balls that come with these little tables. I forget which one it is. But these are, of course, come apart. And it just so happens that this is exactly the right size to put in here over the, you know, the dowel. I think it snaps in right there. So I'm going to put some glue on it and attach both ends. And then I'm going to put some moss around it to hide the white. I mean, you know, if I wanted to do this perfectly, I would spray paint it green first, but I don't really have time for that. So I'm going to just cover it with moss. Okay, so it appears that the little tables worked. So they fit right in. It just happened to be the perfect size for those dowels to attach themselves to. I put hot glue on it. You know, and then also the, you know, you need a more level area. Let's see if it works on that grass. Yeah, it does. I think the flatter the surface, the better it'll work. But, you know, I like the grass, so I'm going to keep that. But now I'm going to just put this protective craft mat back because I want to put the moss on it. So I'll just show you what I'm using. You know, it's still, I wish it was a little bit, you know, firmer here. I think if I were to do it again, I might find a nice metal rod and try to bend it so that it'll stay more in that space. But, you know, this will be fine for sure. So I have this sphagnum moss, and, sorry, there. I have this sphagnum moss that I'm going to put around the, you know, the edges of those little tables so that the white doesn't show. Okay, that's what it looks like now, and then I'll be covering that up. And so I'm going to put down some hot glue and then cover it with this sphagnum moss. So, of course, now that we have our little arch, you can customize it any way you want. One way is, whoopsie, I have these, let's see, these are battery operated little garlands, just like the one that I put on there, only these have lights attached to them, which is really cool. You may have seen them. I used it in my restaurant scene, in my restaurant diorama. So something like this could be wrapped around and look really cool. So that's an option. See how good that looks? Sometimes in photos it looks really cool. Sometimes it makes it a little tricky because it adds, highlights, but I think it is really pretty. So that's one option for like a nighttime wedding or something. That would be really cool. And the other thing is you could add bows and some kind of tool that, just creates a, just sort of like a drapey thing that would look really cool. I may actually try that. But what I wanted to try was the flowers, because the bride is holding very similar flowers. So I had this little hydrangea that was a little bit bigger than that. Whoops. And yeah, this isn't still like 100% stable, but it's pretty good. I think for a photo shoot, it's fine. And I'm going to put that slate back to give it a little bit more stability. There we go. And then, so I cut these little blossoms off of here, and I think that they will stay if I just tuck them in among the leaves here and there. I think it'll look really pretty. So I think I'm going to do that. But you could add bows, you could add lots of flowers. You didn't even have to do the garland. You could have added flowers instead of that. So there's a million options now that we have the basic structure. And I think that that's pretty. What do you think? Do you like it? It's funny. It used to be all like June weddings, and more I'm hearing that there are August weddings and September weddings are very popular. So, it's a little tricky because it's hurricane season. So, I don't know. I think June probably was a better time, but maybe, I don't know. Styles change all the time. So on Instagram, a lot of the little bridal challenges are happening now. Oh, I do like the white flowers. I think it adds a charm. And then also, it's a way to hide any imperfections that you have. So, with the wire, so it's just a smart thing to do all the way around, is just to add a little something. And then also, whatever the theme of your wedding is, if it's pink or blue or yellow, you could definitely add whatever flowers go with the wedding theme. There's a lot of different things you can do. So I do really like this a lot. So I think that next I am going to, I think we're done with the how-to part of this video. And then I think I'm going to do like a part 2 to unbox this beautiful wedding girl. I think we need to have her standing right in the middle of that. So I think that's going to be in a part 2. Because I think we're running out of time now for this video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you really enjoyed learning how to do this, and maybe you'll try it yourself, or maybe you have a better idea. Let me know if you have made something similar for a wedding and that you want to share it. I would love to hear other options for like an outdoor wedding. I could see something like this made out of branches. I try to keep things kind of simple in my life, so I like using bought objects, and this one seemed like it wouldn't be too difficult to pull together. I think it worked quite well. So let me know what you think. Oops. The minute I put one, the other one comes down. Okay, there we go. They're staying pretty well, though. Okay. So please like, comment, and share. And I'll see you in part 2. Okay? Bye.
The morning hum, it drifts like smoke through curtains thin, the day awoke. Your laughter stirs the sleepy air, a melody I can't compare. You're sweet as honey, soft and slow.